All right, welcome everybody to our social class. We are going to start covering Instagram this week. I was telling Kristen earlier today that I've almost been like putting this off because Instagram is such a beast. It really is. And the thing with Instagram is if you want to do it correctly, you need to start like, if you want to do it right, you need to do it correctly. And that's like with Facebook, you can kind of play around and you can get somewhere in the meantime. Instagram, you almost have to like, if you don't do it correctly, you're almost not going to get shown to anybody. So this is kind of one of those, like, I want to make sure that we teach you the correct way to do things from the get-go so that you can grow your following. You can start having people reaching out to you based on your content, not necessarily just you messaging them or whatever. Instagram is where you're going to start gaining followers and people are going to follow you because they like what you have to say. Okay, the thing with Instagram is make sure you all have paper and pen or something to take notes on today, because we're going to be going through a lot of like logistical things that you're going to want to take notes on, because you're going to go through and change that some things on your Instagram later on. Anyways, so the thing with Instagram, we've talked about this before, I believe in week 1, where there's like the different facets of social media. And there's Facebook, there's stories, and then there's Instagram. Those are kind of the 3 big ones. Facebook is where we put like our kind of everyday highlights. And then stories is basically where people are hanging out with us kind of throughout the day. And then Instagram is that's kind of your gallery. Okay. So what just came to mind is kind of like dating. You have your people that you like hang out with all day, and those are your stories. And then you've got your people that like you go to coffee with and you might do a play date with here and there, whatever. That's your Facebook. And then Instagram is like, we going on a hot date tonight. We're going to look good. We're going to get dressed up. We're going to be fancy. Okay. So Instagram is where you put your content on display, your pretty content, and where you want to start having some creative outlet there. So as far as building your Instagram, it is it's very easy to build on Instagram, honestly. It's kind of like Plexus, where it's like, if you just do the systems and follow the systems, it's easy to grow on Instagram. But I will say this, again, like we say in Plexus, it's simple. It's not easy, but it is simple, okay? But it's not easy to have to do this every single day because there are a lot of steps to Instagram. So get ready to take some notes over the next couple weeks, because we're gonna really dive into this and help you grow it correctly. So Instagram, your feed wants to be very aesthetically pleasing. It used to be, I'm gonna tell you this, it used to be to where it was like your grid made a difference, and your grid had to have patterns, and it had to have graphics here and this there or whatever. And now it's not necessarily that anymore. People are wanting to see just more like real life. So thankfully we're out of that season, because that was a really hard season to try and grow Instagram. We were like, well, I want to post about this, but I have to do carousels today, and I've got to do graphics, and I've got to have a color palette. That's not what this is about anymore. People want to see more raw, real content and some creativity in that. So that's the good news. That's where Instagram is going. So with Instagram, you want to make sure that your name, Kristen's going to jump into hers, and she's going to pull up her Instagram because she has a really pretty one that she's been working on for a while. But if you've never had an Instagram before, or you don't have one, your username is kind of what everybody sees. And you want to make sure that it either is just your name, or that it has your name in it along with explaining something that you do. Okay. So Kristen's going to kind of go through her stuff here, and you'll see what I'm talking about when she pulls up her Instagram. She's got Instagram always shows you like top stories. And so it's always funny when you pull up Instagram, you're like, what is this that you're trying to show me? I'm not interested in this. So so Kristen's going to kind of go through her stuff and show you how to build this top section, because guys, this is what everybody looks at. All right. So go ahead, Kristen.
Okay. So first of all, it's kind of funny because I can't see any of you or my own self. I can only see my screen. So I feel funny, but okay. Basically what we're going to go over is mainly that top section where it's your bio. Okay. And so you can go and when you click on edit profile, this is where you get to your bio and you can change that there. See, okay. So what I've played with this. I do want to say, just first and foremost, this is never done, really. Okay. It's always a work in progress. Give yourself grace through the process. This is not something that you're going to do overnight. All you can do is take, bits and pieces. It's kind of like eating an elephant. They say just it's one bite at a time. So don't overwhelm yourself with needing to do a complete overhaul of your Instagram. It's because we still want to remember that IPA is our number one. Okay. We're always going to be doing IPA first. But this is a great thing. I'm excited that you guys are all going to start making these changes on your Instagram, because we have amazing opportunity to grow our following and therefore our influence and therefore our businesses with Instagram. So just make sure you're coming in with that right attitude of like, it's not going to be an overnight thing. You're not going to go from 200 followers to, 2 million followers overnight. And that's okay. It is a process. Okay, so first thing, I showed you where you would do your profile. What you're going to want to do is make sure that you are putting some key things in that bio. Okay, that's the first thing people see. It's kind of like, we talked about this a little bit with Facebook, and it is similar. You want people to come here and be able to get a snapshot of who you are and what kind of content you're going to offer them very quickly. Okay, so it's going to be something that they can look and be like, oh, I relate to this. So for me, I put, some of the main things about me. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a wife, and I'm a mother of 4. And what I've decided to focus on, and this is something that I'm sure we'll go into even more in depth in upcoming weeks. But we have talked about it as well on Facebook, and it's the same idea. It's what kind of value can you add? And it's going to seem a little counterintuitive, but the more specific you can be, the better. You want they call that niching down. And so you want to start thinking about this. And I know we had y'all doing that a couple of weeks ago, even when we were talking about Facebook, but I would say with Instagram, it's even more important to niche down. You're going to want to start thinking about, what kind of value can you add? What kind of, content can you bring? And it doesn't have to be, and I probably shouldn't be just Plexus, right? We don't want our feed to just look like Plexus. If you look through my feed, you'll see very little. I mean, there's kind of small, elements. You see my hat has Plexus on it. I have one with a pink drink, but you can't even really see the word Plexus on it, so it's not going to be the bearing theme on your page. It's really just going to be something that's, one of the things that we offer, one of the things that we do. And I would say with Instagram, you want it to be more so that way than even your Facebook. And that's not to be like, deceiving in any way. It's just what we want people to know. I mean, this is just even on Facebook. We are more than just Plexus, right? We have a lot to offer. And it's important that you're going to find your people by adding value in places that aren't necessarily Plexus first. And as they start to trust you and they start to follow you, and on Instagram, the cool thing is it's more like, it's a lot more targeted, because when you do find your people, you're finding people that want to be there. It's not just people you may have been, connected to on, back when you were in first grade or whatever, and you're just friends with them now because you have connections in the past. No, the people that are on Instagram are following you because they want to see your content and they relate to you, and they, it's something that they want to come back and see more of. So all that to say, you're going to want to put something in your bio that kind of tells people what to expect on your page. And so that's where, I have that second line that says, helping moms find grace, humor, and purpose while raising preteens and teens. So that's something I've done recently, is kind of really niche down to a market that is somewhere that I can relate to. My kids are aging into teenagers. And so that brings a lot of nuances and a lot of, lots of praying and lots of different things that have, it's a change that I can relate. And I've noticed that a lot of my content with that actually is, it does really well. People relate to that. And I'm finding people that are in a similar stage of life as me. So yours may look totally different than that. And it should actually, or maybe you do have a similar stage of life to me, and that's okay too. But you want to try to find something that you can relate to, that people will find interesting and that you can add value to. And then I just have a couple things down there, and you see the only thing that really kind of alludes to plexus is gut health. And there are different ways to do this. Honestly, there are, you know, there's a lot of different people telling you different things on ways to do this. So you get to play with it a little bit, but I would just say the important things would be to say, you know, kind of who you are, some important things about you. Like, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a wife, I'm a mother of four. And then what is your niche? Who are you helping? And doing it in this format where you're saying helping moms. Let me take you to Natalie's, because I think hers is good too. How do I do this? Here we go. But you can see that we have kind of a similar encouraging mamas to have fun and find themselves while balancing the joy and chaos of motherhood. So you can come up with a little tagline that kind of says, this is who I am. This is what kind of value I'm going to offer. And, you know, and in that sentence, people like, oh, okay, I relate to that. Love that. And you can see for hers, you know, she's got all of these cute pictures of her kiddos. She's got fun date nights. I mean, so you kind of see all of that all wrapped up into her bio. Natalie, was there more that you wanted me to do, or do you want me to stop, or are you going to start talking about?
So yeah, like going back to mine, I was just going to add, yeah, I have, you know, what a lot of times when we talked about on Facebook, how you want to have those like 4 to 5 bullet points of what people can expect to see. So, I mean, that first one, if you look, Kristen, sorry, I'm trying to say 18 things at once. Let me back up. First of all, I want to point out the differences between mine and Kristen's, and it's just different. So when Kristen and I started doing this together, we helped each other kind of form each other's bios and names and all this stuff and kind of gave opinions. And so I will say this, where I said you want to have it either be your name or something that has your name in it. Kristen, I think Kristen Barkley was, I mean, there was like, there's a lot of different things that came into play when trying to pick Kristen's. And so one thing that, you know, she came down to is keep it Kristen. And I love that because hers is very like, that's what hers is about, is just keeping it real, keeping it Kristen. I'm not here to impress. I'm not here to like try and be a certain someone for anybody. I'm not trying to show you that I have the most perfect kids in the world. I'm just keeping it real. This is what it is, right? So her username, and that's at the very top where you'll see mine says Natalie Shower. Hers is Keep It Kristen. And then down here under her profile picture, she just had Kristen Barkley. Where on mine, first of all, there's nothing fancy that goes with Natalie. There just isn't. And there wasn't really a way for me to like put in what I wanted to. So I just kept mine just my name. So mine's just Natalie Shower. And then my name is Natalie Shower .girl mama. Okay. So because I didn't really get to put in my title what necessarily my niche, I guess, is, I put it in my name. So your username is the top, how everyone's going to find you. And then your name is going to be Natalie Shower Girl Mama. So the cool thing is when people are searching Natalie Shower, it pops up Natalie Shower Girl Mama. It'll pull up, Keep It Kristen Barkley underneath. Okay. So that's kind of like the nice thing about your name is it's a little bit, yeah, see, just like this. So the nice thing is it's a way for you to be able to kind of almost put in a little bit of like a sneak peek into what they can expect from you, putting it on your name. And then when you're going down into my pictures and stuff, when I say that I do girls and decor, food, dress up, and business, if you scroll down, I've got obviously all of my kids. I've got my nails because I like to dress up. I've got girls' nights out. So this is like, it kind of shows in my pictures what you're expecting, and there's no inconsistencies with my bullet points. See, there's food. So there's no inconsistencies with my bullet points and what content I'm offering. Does that make sense? Also, you'll notice on neither one of our grids do we have like memes and graphics and all of it. That it's just us, and it's people getting to know us. Okay. So yeah, so that was the last thing I wanted to touch on with that. Did you have anything else to add, Kristen?
We'll go into like these highlights. You see the little start here and reviews. We're going to go into that later on because that's a whole nother aspect of it, but that's also something important and part of your bio. But yeah, I like what Natalie said. Like and I do want to preface, we're not experts. We have been taking classes for the last probably year and a half, but like I said, it's always a work in progress. So don't feel like yours has to look exactly like ours. We're just we're giving you some things that we have learned over this last year and a half and we're always honing in on that. I will say, once you've come up with the bio, we've learned in the past, like it's good to kind of stick with what you're doing for at least a year. So it doesn't have to stay that way. You're not committed for a year, but just realize you don't want to be changing it every, month or two. Like really spend some time to come up with your bio. And if you want to, I think Natalie would agree. If you want to, like we did for the Facebook bio, if you want to put it in your ideas into the Grit and Grace group, we're happy to kind of, give our 2 cents and, help you out with that.
Yeah. Perfect. Y'all keep in mind that with Instagram, the way people decide whether they want to follow you or not is they will just do a quick scroll of your grid. So, and that's not to like add a ton of pressure, but if your grid looks like a Plexus commercial, they're just going to skip right through it. Okay. So there's a reason why we've created DVR and then we went into just apps that people are paying money to not have to watch commercials. Okay. Because people like to skip through commercials. So if your Facebook or your Instagram just looks like a bunch of commercials, they're not going to be that interested. Okay. So you have to get clever with how you're sharing and how you are presenting your content so that it's like, this is who I am. You're following me. You're not following Plexus. You're following me. And then this is the life that I live. By the way, I incorporate Plexus into my life.
Plexus is part of my life.
Yeah. Exactly. And so that's what you want to do with this. So I was going to have Kristen, show you a couple more because I wanted to talk through them. But if we can start with Jennifer Cobb, Jennifer Cobb is actually a diamond. No, actually, sorry. Let's start with Enneagram Ashton. Enneagram Ashton is actually she's super fun. So she does life coaching. She works with the Enneagram, things like that. And so one reason I wanted to show you hers is because this is a graphic heavy account. So you are going to see graphic heavy accounts, but the reason is she is coaching on the Enneagram. Okay. That's very much what she does, but you can see where this is what I'm talking about, where your feed used to need to have a pattern. She's got a pattern to her feed. Right. And so you don't have to do this by any means, but what I love about hers is she's using all the same colors. She's using all the same, she mixes it up a little bit for different holidays. If you want to go way down, Kristen, she's got like, a certain theme that she follows all the time, but she shows a little bit about her baby, but a lot of it is very Enneagram heavy, and people that love the Enneagram, they follow her. They want to know everything she says. I'm going to tell you flat out, I'm one of those people. I follow her, and the second I see her Enneagram type 2, what is this, with wings and descriptions, I'm following her account every day to go see when she's got my Enneagram 7 up, because I want to see what she says about my 7. Okay, so that she's very smart with how she doesn't just throw it all out there, and she's got a way to present and a lot of her stuff literally says the same exact thing, but she has a different way of just presenting it. She puts it on a pretty graphic. She doesn't throw it all out there at once. She doesn't, so if we want to relate this to Plexus, she's not just throwing out all the different things that Plexus has healed her from. Today, she's just going to be talking about, her headaches or whatever. And she might talk about her headaches this week and what the science of headaches or whatever. Like, this is how I relate it to, like, if you're going to do something with Plexus, she'll talk about, we want to talk about love. How do the different Enneagram numbers love? Here's how they love other people. Here's how, you know what I mean? She doesn't just constantly give like, here's the general characteristics of an Enneagram 7, So I like her account. It's a really good one to follow if you want ideas on how to incorporate graphics. Again, not Plexus graphics. She just creates her own graphics that go along with her feed that tells a story, because those are shareable and those are good. So I'm not saying never, ever, ever do graphics, but they have to be aesthetically pleasing. And if you're up for this challenge, go ahead and do graphics. I'm not up for that challenge, to be very honest with you. So for me, I'm like totally fine just doing my own content and just giving my own story and just sharing my own life. Jennifer Cobb is a diamond in Plexus, and she does a lot of the social media training. Now, I wanted to show you hers because hers is an example of a very beautiful, I would almost say perfectly done Instagram. Okay. So she is very home decor heavy. Now, if you notice, she's using the same colors throughout her entire Instagram. She's using a specific filter so that it's all very beautiful, very pretty. I would suggest you guys follow her because I'm giving you these people to follow so that you can kind of like learn from them and kind of see what they're doing. But follow her. See, there's a picture of greens, but it kind of still goes with her theme, right? And it's just a very simple picture of greens. She's got a couple pictures in here where you know, right here, this chow bag, she actually got that from a Plexus event. So when people go, oh my gosh, where'd you get that bag? That's going to bring up some Plexus stuff. Okay. So this is how she does this right here. This is from a Plexus event. I'm pointing, but you guys can't see this little bag right here with all the stuff around it. That's from a Plexus event. These little, you can see this is a Plexus blanket. This is when they launched our lemongrass pineapple active. She took some pictures with that, but see, it goes with her feed. It goes with what she's already doing. And because she's home decor, it was really easy for her to throw a blanket down with it and take some pictures that way. Here's some content pictures that she did with, and if any of you are in the Instagram photos and graphics page, you probably recognize a lot of these because she does a lot of the graphics for us. But yes, so she's very.
Natalie, can I mention that she's a professional? Okay. Your pictures don't have to look like this.
Yes.
Natalie and I want you to follow her because she has great ideas and it's something to aspire to, but please, please, please don't compare yourself to her or overwhelm yourself by following her. Realize that she was already she's been amazingly successful with Plexus, but before that, she was already very successful as a home decor influencer. So she has learned how to take these pictures. That being said, any of us can learn to do these things. And so it's just a skill set that she has learned over time. And she has been able to build her account over the last, I don't even know how long, but it's probably been like 8 years or something or more. So don't feel like it's going to be an overnight. This is why I was saying, it's not an overnight overhaul. This is something you get better at the more you do it. And obviously her feed looks like a magazine, y'all. Yeah. So ours is going to take a while to start looking, and it may never look this good. And that's okay, because there's other people that love keeping it. Like we said, Instagram as a whole is actually going more toward real life and not looking so much like a magazine. That's what's trending now in 2022. If you follow the Instagram, like trends of the year, that's actually what is trending. And a lot of these influencers are actually having to learn how to be a little bit more real. So it's okay, but she has some amazing, beautiful content and ideas for us to glean from. And I love following her because you can kind of just see what is the best of the best in this Instagram world doing right now. So
Instagram and Plexus. Yeah. And that's why we like to bring her up to people, like Kristen said, with the disclaimer that nobody's expecting this. This is like, there's a reason she is very professional and she's sought after from people to do graphics and things like that. But I like to show you hers because it's a beautiful, perfect example of how to do Plexus and Instagram without being just so Plexus and salesy heavy. Okay. So she's somebody that you can kind of learn from and take ideas from. The other one I wanted to show you is Megan Ashton.
By the way, she's the one that is normalize the pink drink. That's where we learned that. So real quick, just like you don't see, even whenever she has her pink drink so even like this picture, whoops, sorry.
It's actually real. Yeah.
It's actually a reel, but the picture that's on the feed is her beautiful living room. And like Natalie said, you've probably seen that graphic. So this is the girl that suggested to normalize the pink drink and let it just be like in this picture. I mean, she's like this, it's like this gorgeous magazine cover, but her pink drink's in it, but it's not the main focal point.
Right.
Just to bring that up.
Exactly. Okay. And I know where Kristen was going to go with that because she's posted that picture she put as like the cover for her reel, but she's posted that picture before. And in it, she just talked about something in her living room and getting a new couch or something like she didn't even talk about the pink drink. So the first time she posted that, it's just a part of there. And people would ask her like, what is that in your bottle or whatever, And so this one is a Plexus post, but notice it's still decor. It's still kind of centered around decor. I've shared that post before because it's really good. But yes, that's a good one. So yes, so Jennifer Cobb is one that you want to check out. So all this to say, I know when I look at hers, I'm like, my home doesn't look anything like that. I don't even know how to begin to do that kind of stuff. So another way you can use Instagram and grow is by reposting. Okay. There are people who literally have an entire massive following just based on reposting other people's good stuff. So they make this beautiful feed that's not even their content. Some of it is, but most of it's not even their content. So American Farmhouse, this is Megan Ashman. She's another diamond in the company. Kristen and I have hung out with her a few times. And so she's like super real, super down to earth, super cool. But she's very, she's a repost account. I mean, I will say she's gotten away from doing repost a little bit more recently, but for the most part, she will share like this house picture right here underneath her in the orange shirt. This house picture right here, that's not her house. That's just, hey, what does everyone think about black windows? And then she'll, say, this is a repost from so-and-so from M House Development.
I'm not sure, Natalie, on how, if that is, I know that especially with big accounts like this, those are collabs that are talked about beforehand. Not sure that there's not really a way to just share other people's Instagram post.
Right.
Yeah. So I'd go into that a little bit.
The way that you would repost is you would reach out to that person and say, hey, this was really good. Can I share this? So that's how she grew hers, as she would just reach out to these people and be like, hey, I have a farmhouse, American Farmhouse account, and I'd love to share, your content that you shared today. And they'd be like, sure. And they would send her the content and she would reshare it. So it's talked about ahead of time. It's not something that, she's just sharing like crazy, because there's not really a way to share on Instagram. But if you notice, everything is pretty aesthetically pleasing on her account as well. She uses a lot of the same colors, a lot of the same filters, but it's mostly farmhouse. And then every once in a while, you'll get like a random, is it up more? I saw one.
Yeah, she's doing more Plexus now. Like I said, I think she's starting to do a lot more real.
Yes.
We're having to make some adjustments, but you can see a lot more Plexus.
Like right there's a before and after of hers that she had.
By the way, she shares this same post often and a lot.
Yes.
With different verbiage, the same picture.
Yep, exactly. So that's another thing, is don't feel like you have to have this arsenal of photos to share. You can share the same picture over and over again and be like, wow, look at these results. I've shared my before and after more times than I can tell you, and I've just put something new with it. You can share the same type of stuff. But she's another good one to follow, because here's another one. She did some cellulite stuff here. Now I'm going to tell you, she will probably archive this in a few days, because that's something that she does. So a lot of these people, when they're doing their Instagram, they'll throw up a post that's like this with before and afters. And because it's not aesthetically pleasing to their Instagram, they'll leave it up for a week to get some traction on it. And then they'll archive it later on, so that their grid is still pretty and they don't have cellulite all over their grid, so,
yep.
Or zit.
Never delete, just archive.
Never delete. Yes. So I have some do's and don'ts with all of this, like we did with Instagram. So there's some accounts for you to follow. Check them out. They're really good. Also look at their stories, because you can see where stories is kind of where you just hang out with them all day. Their Instagram is, here's her with her kids. This is her stories.
Stories, you get to be a lot, and we talked about this on Facebook, you get to be a lot, like, especially though, the dichotomy between your grid and your profile with Instagram compared to your stories is pretty big. Like, you can have this really pretty clean, you want to have this really pretty clean grid and your profile, but then your stories, that's where you get to be just as real can be. You want to be as real can be, because that's where people start to trust you. So you've got like your highlights on your grid and your everyday, day-to-day, I'm a real girl. And you can throw some Plexus stuff in there and graphics and things like that easier than you can on your grid on Instagram.
Exactly. And I would almost challenge you to, hey, can you pull up Emily's too while we're at it? I would almost challenge you too, that like, if you have like a long post that you want to do about something you're struggling with or whatever, because you want to encourage people in it, I would almost encourage you to just jump on your stories and just talk about it in your stories, snap a picture of yourself and post it saying, had a rough day today, listen about it or hear about it in my stories or something like that, and just post that as your post. And then people are going to go to your stories to hear why you had a rough day. And then you can just talk to them there instead of having to type out this, big thing. Not saying you should always, but there's times where you want to be like, I don't have it perfect and I want you guys to know that or whatever. So this is Emily's. Here's another good one. She uses a lot of the same color schemes. She's very into like earthy tones and browns. She uses a lot of she filters, has the same filter for a lot of things. Hers is, if you scroll up a little bit, so hers is, I value freedom and taking every opportunity can offer a hand up to women in the Western industry. So her niche that she's trying to reach right now are women in like the horse industry. And it's very, very obvious when you go through her grid. She is in the top 0.1% of the company. And she's telling you she's conservative. So expect to see conservative stuff on her page, right? So that's what you get when you look at hers. Her username is her name. And then her name is Western Lifestyle and Business. So when you look up Emily Granat, you're going to see Western Lifestyle and Business. So you know exactly what to expect from her. So like I said, it's kind of a little sneak peek into who she is and what she can do. So use those two things together so that one's a name and one's like, what can they expect from you?
If your handle is not your name, you need to make sure and put your name in that first spot. Exactly. If it is your name, you have a little bit more flexibility to just do like Emily did and put, what kind of value you're going to bring.
Exactly. I mean, here's some good, you can see that Embracing Destiny, that's her name, but she's got Destiny Crosby as her thing. Celeste Quinn, she's the top of our company actually. But
look at hers if you want.
Yeah, she's top of the company. And if you notice, 13.5 is a lot of followers, but it's not like she's got like, 1 million followers, like even some of the other people that we've looked at, but she's really picked up on doing reels. But she's very clear on being an empty nesting mom. So I don't know if this is helping you guys kind of locate a niche for you. You can see it doesn't have to be just plexus. So she talks about plexus. She talks about, I help mamas be healthy, emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially, while embracing the season of their birds flying the nest. So you can see for her, she's empty nester. That's her niche. And she talks a lot about being an empty nester.
Pretty much all of her reels are for that niche so that people can expect, if they see one reel, they're going to see other reels that connect in that same demographic. And so it makes it, the biggest thing about this is consistency. You want people to know what to expect from your account. That way they're getting what they want. If they follow you, they're like, oh, I relate to this. I like this. And they expect to see more of that type of content.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So do's and don'ts for Instagram. You ready?
Can I come off of this now?
Oh, yes, you can. Those nose pictures are funny.
I know. What is this?
I don't know. That's why I'm always saying they always like make you feel weird when they're like, here's some top stuff you'll be interested in. And you're like, why do you think I'm interested in this?
I'm not interested in any of that. I think I don't like the thing is the algorithm's confused by me. I don't like enough posts.
Yeah.
For it to know what I want to see.
Exactly. So the do's and don'ts of Instagram: don't have a profile pic that's not you or is like too many things in one little picture. Keep in mind your profile picture is small. People can't really click on it to see it. So the only time they're going to see it is just in that tiny little circle. So make sure that your profile pic is either an up close of your face or something of just your body that shows what you're doing. So like if Emily doesn't have it now, I think in the past I've seen her like on a horse, that's pretty clear about what she does. Mine is almost a whole body shot, but it's me with coffee and like taking a picture in my mirror. It's kind of home decor, fashion, mama, it's kind of like showing what I do, but it's close enough to where it's like, you can see my face and know who I am. Kristen's is just a cute little picture of her face because she keeps it Kristen. And it's very like, it kind of goes along with what she's doing. So if I've seen where people put like their whole family, y'all are only this big. They can't see your whole family anyways. Yeah. So I would have your profile pic be mainly just you. I know you love your kids and you love your husband. I do too, but they don't fit in that profile picture. So you can share them on your grid. Have that be your profile picture. Don't get into the trap of follow, unfollow. Okay. I know that a lot of people say that's like a way to like grow your account and whatever. I'm going to be very honest with you. It's really shady. It's really inauthentic. And you're going to hear a lot of, if you are digging into them, you're going to hear some people that say, what you want to do is you want to go through and you want to follow those people to where they get to follow you back. And then you can go through and unfollow them later. But don't do that. That's the wrong thing to do. We're not here to do that. We want to grow real people that are just genuinely interested in our content. And we're not here to, play the follow, unfollow game. Also Instagram, if you are trying to get tricky with that kind of stuff, Instagram is very, they're smart. They're figuring it out. So if they see that you're doing that, they're going to shadow ban you and they're going to cut off your account pretty quickly. Okay. So, Instagram, I would say, is smarter than Facebook. They know what you're doing. So don't do that. I would even dare to say, don't do a lot of collaborations. That's one I've heard lately is a big one too, because you're going to see a lot of accounts that are like, I'm combining with so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so, and they've all put money in towards like a Peloton together. And all you have to do is follow all of us. And then you go into a drawing for a free Peloton or something like that. Don't do those types of things either, because again, you just want people that are genuinely interested in your content. Getting a bunch of people to follow my account because they wanted a Peloton isn't going to get me anywhere in the long run, because they're just going to go and follow me later on. Right. And so, and honestly, the more unfollows that you are getting, the more Instagram's not going to show you to people. So if you're playing the follow, unfollow game, people will do that right back to you. And the more you keep getting unfollowed more than you're getting followed, they're not going to show your stuff to very many people. So you just want to make sure that you're just giving content that people are interested in, getting to your niche people that you want to talk to so that they stay with you. Okay. We're not playing the follow and follow game. Don't compare yourself to other pages. Okay. I know that it is easy to get caught in the trap of like, everything out there has been done. I just need to like do it better. That's not true. There's not you have not been done. You have not been done out there. Okay. So you've got something, we've talked about this before. You've got something that you can offer people that nobody else can. And I don't care how many, look at how many farmhouse accounts there are out there. And yet there are still people that are banking on that industry. Look how many, I'm sure there's a million empty nester accounts. I'm sure there's a million raising teens and preteens accounts. There's a million girl mom accounts. But you know what? I've got something that maybe they don't, and I'm reaching a different market and different audience. So just figure out what you have to offer people and put it out there, and don't compare yourself to other people, because you are going to get people that they cannot. All right. Even if they are professionals, there are people that they are not going to be able to get that you can. I'm going to tell you, I recruited accidentally one of the top diamonds in the company. I accidentally recruited one of their people and didn't know it till after they signed on with me. And I was like, oh, you're already signed on with that? And they were like, well, yeah, I you just can talk to me in a different way. I don't know. Like, I feel like I can relate to you more. So that's the thing, is like, don't ever compare yourself to what other people are doing. You have something that you can offer people and they can relate to you in a way that nobody else can. So just keep it real. Okay. Make sure that make sure that your grid is not spam heavy. Okay. So keep in mind, people are going to look at your grid even more than they're going to look at your Facebook page. Again, like I said, you kind of have like a 3 seconds where people are going to decide if they want to follow you or not. They go to your profile, they scroll your grid real quick, and they're not even going picture by picture usually. They're usually scrolling really quickly to see what your grid looks like, and then they'll follow you or unfollow you based on that. Okay, so I'm not saying that to like put a lot of pressure on you, but what I am saying is just don't have a lot of graffiti all over your grid. If it's literally just nothing but memes and nothing but random pictures of birds when you've promised them that you're going to teach them home decor, like that's not going to help anybody. Okay. So make sure that your grid is pretty. Now, here's the thing, another don't, and this goes along with what I'm talking about now. Do not ever delete anything off Instagram. Okay. If you are deleting things off Instagram, they will flag your account and they won't show it to very many people. Don't ask me why, but they do not want you deleting your content. Instead, you want to archive your content. Okay. If there's something that's not going well, or it doesn't look good, or you're not happy with it, just archive it. So when Kristen and I first started taking a lot of these classes and we started overhauling our Instagram, not going to lie to you, both of our feeds, we were very embarrassed to even have to look at it. We were like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been sharing the whole time. No wonder I can't grow this thing, And it was a lot of just like random weird memes and pictures of weird things because I don't know, we didn't know what we were doing. And
we treated it like Facebook, and it's very different.
Or it was a bunch of Plexus graphics or, you know, whatever. And so we're like, yeah, but Instagram is different. So what you want to do is go through and figure out what your niche is. And I would start archiving any content that makes it look like graffiti. Start cleaning up the graffiti on your storefront. Okay. Again, this is even more important on Instagram than it is on Facebook. So, and then the other thing I wanted to say is Instagram will also start banning your account. And this is coming up a lot more. They will start banning your account if you guys are doing a lot of, if it's the same couple people commenting on your stuff. They don't show that to very many people. And after a while they ban your account. I found that out the hard way. They reached out to me and said that I was a part of a, what do they call those, Kristen? I forget the name.
Engagement groups.
Engagement groups, which, to be very honest, the Post Bumpers group is like an engagement group, but on Facebook that works. In Instagram, they will hunt you down and cut you off for that. So you want to just get genuine content with genuine followers and genuine comments. It's one thing every once in a while to be like, hey, this is dying and I just worked really hard on it. Can someone boost it or bump it or whatever? That's one thing. But if you're getting the same 3 people and, you know, you've got 4 of you that always comment on each other's stuff, they'll shut you down after a while after that. So this is what I'm saying is like Instagram is a beast. It's its own beast, but it's a huge, massive tool if you can, you know, use it correctly. And to be very honest with you, it's basically, it's not a beast if you are just authentic and real and just share your real life. If you're doing all this like slimy, sleazy, follow and follow, trying to get more follows, trying to do this and not just sharing genuine content, that's where they get you. So it's like, it is a beast, but it's also not. I feel like to me, it almost kind of lets me off the hook because I don't have to do all those extra weird, crazy things to try and buy follows and try and sponsor and all that. Like, it's just sharing content, and it will eventually
have the attitude of like, it's not going to be an overnight thing. Okay. And you go into it wanting to do it the right way, as Natalie said at the beginning. And then you just purpose to figure out the things that are helping Instagram accounts grow. Like, you know, you can have a leg up on like right now, and we're going to go into it in another class. Reels are what is growing accounts. Like that's what Instagram has promised. It says we're going to show more reels. We want to be more, they want to compete with TikTok. They want to be a more video focused platform. So they've told us that it's like a key to success. And I can tell you, you know, if you're consistent and they reward, the algorithm rewards consistency. So being intentional with what you're doing, taking it one chunk at a time, and then, you know, just authentically being you in those specific spaces, like with the reels, with your, you know, pictures, with your post, everything that you're doing, if you're continually being you and then being intentional with the things that we're teaching you and the things, if you go and, you know, take some other classes or whatever you do, you can grow your account. And both Natalie and I have grown. I mean, it has been a slow thing. I've been, you know, connected with people who have seen even more, I guess, quicker growth. So I know that we're on the right track, but we both have gone for probably about like, cause we didn't do anything with Instagram
like
a year and a half ago. I think we were at like 100 or 200 followers, and we're both in the 500 range, you know? So it's been a slow growth. Hopefully we can help you guys to see quicker growth by learning everything, or by relaying everything that we've learned in the last year. But like we said, it's an ever-changing thing, and it's never completely done. It's one of those things that you go and do, you know, it's always a work in progress.
And even more important than what number we're at this point is that we're actually getting more people that are reaching out to us and trust us and are responding to us when we do talk to them about Plexus. So the number doesn't even necessarily matter as much as, you know, the authentic, genuine people that you have following you and are now trusting you and want to know what you have to say. So another don't is, I was basically going to say, don't put your value in your follower count. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's very easy to do. And you can put yourself into a downward spiral. I'm going to tell you, I had a girl on my team last year that would basically, she knew who her followers were. And when she went down a follower, she would go and look at who her follower and who unfollowed her, and then would get herself into like a tizzy. And guys, that's not important. Like this is not important. Your follower and unfollower, like whatever, like don't even look at that stuff. To be very honest, there's days where I'll go in and I worked so hard. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm at 430 people and I've done a really awesome reel and it went almost viral or whatever. And then I finally got to 450 and I get in a couple days later, I'm at 425. I'm like, okay. So, but I have people that now have reached out to me because they liked my so it's like the follower count doesn't matter, and don't get wrapped up in that. Literally, you can put yourself into a really bad spiral going into a follower, like putting your value in that. So
I'd rather have 400 followers that actually want to be there than 1,000 followers that are just oscillating, going back and forth and have nothing to do with, never going to buy from you, never going to trust you. It really, if you can do these things that we've learned to do and really start to work intentionally on your Instagram, you'll find followers that actually want to be there and are there, and you're building a community of people that think the same way as you and value the same things you value. And so it doesn't necessarily need to be huge, but if it can be authentic and the right kind of people, that's what you're going after anyways.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's good. I'm like you. I'd rather have people that actually want to be there and that I know are like, it's kind of like, do you want a bunch of true friends or do you want a bunch of fake friends? These are your true friends. You want to have your people that want to be there, like she said, and like love you and love what you have to share. So, okay. So sorry, I know we need to wrap up in just a second. Last thing is do share everything from Instagram to Facebook and start on Instagram. Okay. So this goes with stories. This goes with your beautiful post. Okay. I'm going to tell you, Instagram, you only need one post a day. Really. You only need one post a day. Facebook, I think sometimes we can do a little bit more and get away with it. Instagram, I mean, you can do more, but you only really need one really good post every single day. So I would say whatever's going to be your really beautiful, meaningful, I've got an awesome picture to go with this. Like, this is my good post for the day. Put that on Instagram and share it to Facebook. Make sure you also add it to your stories. And then you're done posting on Instagram for the day. Anything else you're posting, memes or whatever, put that on Facebook. That's Facebook. That's your coffee dates and your play dates and your, let's meet up after school for Jamba Juice. Like, that's what that is. Instagram, you just went on this one fancy date. You don't owe them 3 fancy dates in one day. Okay. You got your one fancy date. The rest of the day is on Facebook. But anything stories, always start in Instagram and share it over to Facebook. Because Instagram has more options for how you can create your stories and whatnot, which I know some of you are still learning those, but even while you're starting now, just start in Instagram and just get used to sending it over to Facebook. It used to be that if you shared something from Instagram to Facebook, it wouldn't show as many people on Facebook. I think they've eliminated that now from what I've heard. So, but again, notice that we're kind of like, I think it used to be this, now it's this, because Instagram changes all the time. Facebook changes all the time. And we'll try and keep you updated on what the changes are as we hear them. But you really do hear them just from like random people that work closely with Instagram. So you're never done. Like Kristen said, you're never done. I've changed my bio. I just changed mine, I think, a month ago. Like, it's always changing. You're always being like, ooh, that's kind of stale and outdated verbiage. I don't think I like that in my bio anymore, or whatever. So don't get caught up in making sure everything is perfect right away. It's an ever-changing process. And if you have questions about it, feel free to ask. But does anyone have any questions before we jump off? Did anyone learn anything of value today?
That was a good class. I do have a question about, I'd like to know what kind of presets are good presets to buy. I mean, I know there's a whole slew of them to choose from, and I have some, but I don't like them so much after I've bought them. Like, so are there like tried and true ones that you guys
you don't really like? I wouldn't say you have to buy presets right away. There's a lot of different like free apps and stuff that you can look at. Lightroom, I'm going to tell you right now, y'all are going to want to download Lightroom. Lightroom is one of the best preset apps that you can get. And then you can actually go through and just find presets. Now, sorry, when Ashley's asking about a preset, she's talking about your filter on your picture. So people are using the same exact preset. It's a preset filter that they put in all of their pictures. So like Emily has a preset that's probably like, grungy something. It's not, but I'm just saying like it kind of has that like
Vintage
Western,
or-
dingy
yeah.
kinda, yeah, whatever. So
But just to keep that color scheme, just like everybody saw on, you know, the nice, clean, the American farmhouse and, you know, J Cobb, like, yeah.
exactly.
They
So
use a certain preset, you know.
yes. So they have a list of like, you know, 5 or 6 presets, because obviously a home decor preset isn't going to be going to look the same on a face, you know. So they've got a couple presets that kind of look the same, that whether they're shooting a body or a home, they've got, you know, pick that filter basically. But again, this is gonna be a whole class on itself, because we could go into this. But if y'all want to download Lightroom, and then you can look up different apps. You can just search filter. I use one called Filter, FLTR. And there's tons of different ones in there that they're always loading, and they're like in chunks. So it's
yeah, there's a set. It always comes in a set, because it's like they all look similar, but depending on the lighting of what you originally like took your picture in, you may want to use one of the others in the set, because it changes. Like, you know, this one looks a little too orange. This one, so
exactly. So, and then there's a way, and I can show you this later, but then you take those presets and you dump them into Lightroom, and then all of your photos will load into Lightroom, and it's super easy to just click on what photo you want, pick your preset, and export it. Like, it's super easy once you get the hang of it. I'm not going to say it's super easy right away. It took me some time to learn.
It took me a long time to figure it out.
Yeah.
good news, Ashley, is that it's not as important anymore. That is what Instagram is saying. It's about real life. It's not about looking like a magazine. So yes, aesthetics matter, but they're not the end all be all. It's almost more like, a lot of times they're even saying now to use just like, do not even put a cover photo on your reels. I don't do that, because I like to have a pretty cover photo, but that's even what they're saying. So it can be like, you know, like your face is just like this, like it's just like an action shot. And they say that's better for the algorithm than even having an actual pretty cover photo. So it's moving away from needing a preset on every single picture.
Yeah.
But I get it. It's still valuable to know those things, and to, you know, try to keep it as consistent as possible, but it's not an end all be all by any means.
I mean, personally, I like presets because I just think they make my pictures look better. Just, I mean, if you want to go into vanity, I just think my pictures look better. So
Definitely.
the thing is did I stop it? Oh no, I'm still recording. Oh, weird, my recording button went away. Anyways, I just like a preset. So, you know, for me, like, I'll probably still always do presets, but you know, to kind of tag on what Kristen's saying, it's not one of the heavy important things. So don't put so much weight on trying to figuring out presets and filters and Lightrooms that you're not doing your IPA, or you're not at least just staying consistent. You know, this is the problem with Instagram, I think, is we can get so bogged down with wanting to do something perfectly that we go into analysis paralysis, and then we don't end up even sharing anything at all. And so, you know, it's more important to throw something up that is just real and authentic in you, to get something out there, than to be so caught up in trying to make it perfect and make sure there's a preset on it and make sure that it's, you know, not this or that and it looks aesthetically good. Like, I think that's honestly why Instagram is going back to real life, because they're figuring out that, like, when people have so much pressure on their content goes down. So when you have take the pressure off yourself, you know, take the pressure off yourself and just
realize you can always archive things. So like, better to connect with your audience. And I'm speaking to the choir here, because I also get sometimes in my head about, you know, being perfectionist with it, but it's better to connect with your audience and it not be 100% what you wanted it to look like than it is for you to just not show up.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. That was a great question, Ashley. So Lightroom, and if you do want to look at filters, like I said, I use Filter. I know Kristen's got a different one. Honestly, you can just search filter apps or
whatever you're going for. I would search, you know, or sometimes I'll search filters for, like, you know, when I went to Florida last year, I searched up good filters for like beach, you know, and found a pretty filter that worked for that time, you know. And if you go through like my feed, and not to say I'm perfect at it, but like if you go through, you can see kind of like, for me, different seasons, I've kind of, you'll be consistent with the filter for a while, but you don't have to stick with it forever and ever. Like, you know, like sometimes the seasons change. And so my colors look different, like in the winter than it does necessarily in, you know, the summer or whatever. And it's okay, as long as you're consistent for the 9 pictures that you see. it's okay to change over time too.
Yeah. Good. Did anyone else have any questions? That was a good one. Christine, are you saying you have a question? No, okay. All right, perfect. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.